So we're being asked to use a graph of secant x to solve where secant x is equal to 1.548. So I've sketched in green the secant x function. The yellow represents the asymptotes. And this line here, the red horizontal line, represents y equals 1.548. Okay, and we can see that it hits the graph at those points, those red dots I've located. Now we can also solve this by converting the secant into cosine. So if I convert the secant into cosine x, I end up with 1 over 1.548. That gives us a cosine value of looks like 0.6459, so 646. And I can use the inverse cos of that. And if I go on to Desmos, I can get the same answer, but the inverse cosine, when I work this out, gives me a value of 0.87. Okay, so our theta 1 equals 0.87, and that represents this coordinate right here, 0.87. And then if we want theta 2, the symmetry is exactly the same as for cosine, so we just use the same formula. We just subtract from 2 pi. So we end up with, let me try that again. So 2, and is 6.28 minus the theta 1, which is 0.87 approximately. So we get about 5 point, that point's going to be at 5.41. Okay, so that's our theta 2. And again, on the right-hand side here, I've shown this algebraically how we can solve for that as well. So from the graph, let's write that down. From the graph, we can just find the intersection. We can draw a horizontal line at y equals 5.48 and find the intersections from the function. We can actually just solve it algebraically as well. The second one here, we have secant x equals 1 for all real numbers. Now again, it's probably easiest just to solve for cosine. Cosine is equal to 1 only at this one point. So at 0, theta 1 is 0, okay, and we can just get repetitions at 2 pi, 4 pi, dot, 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 dot. Okay, so it's going to be n 2 pi is going to be the solution for x. And again, we can see that here. If I take a look at secant x equals 1 on the graph, it's going to be along that line. It's going to repeat every 2 pi. We're going to end up with a solution for cosine x equals 1 or secant x equals 1.